would move to the trail position, the lead would come over, and the trail would then become the new center.
Yeah, so the lead will always be on the side of the basket that is throwing the ball in. Coverage on transition, so the center, that's the least amount of running. They go from the one position that is gray to the black circle, while the lead and trail, they alternate who's the lead and trail. Yeah, so for transition, the trail is running back to become the lead. Don't backpedal. Look over your shoulder. Make sure you are beyond the, like you're behind the play. Not behind, you're in front of the play. If you do happen to get caught behind, don't just like be sprinting towards the line without watching anything. It's better to be a little bit behind the play and see the layup, see if there's any fouls, than to just be aimlessly sprinting toward a line. You should remember to continue officiating while you're running. Shot and rebound coverage. The lead will be responsible for most of if there's any fouls on the rebounding. When the shot goes up, they shouldn't be looking at the rim at all. They're looking at the bodies in the paint that are fighting for the rebound. Both the center and the trail should close down on shots. Don't find yourself as the trail when the shot goes up, backpedaling away because you want to get a head start, because they'll inevitably miss it, and then you'll be out of position and won't be able to make the right call. And the center is primarily responsible for weak side rebounding. So that's the side that is not strong, the one where, yeah, the weak side. So these graphs illustrate additional shot and rebound coverage depending on where the shot occurred from.
Strong side's basically going to be where your matchup in the lane is, where your post matchup is.
Okay.
So not necessarily where the ball is, but a lot of times it's where the ball is.
Did everyone hear and understand that? Yep.
Yeah. One more time, please.
One more time. So the strong side is where that'll be the main rebounding battle with big men, and that's where the lead should have their attention for rebounding.
So it's not always where the ball, it's not always ball side, but a lot of times it's ball side.
If both center and trail indicate a three-point attempt, trail should referee the defense on the shooter and stay with the shot. C should release and cover rebounding. So that's pretty much saying that the trail has the call for the three-pointer. They should be watching the shooter. If both call it and are looking at the shooter, the center is the one who kind of takes away their attention and puts them on the rebounding. And
What? Sorry.
I was going to say the second point,
Okay, good.
mirror the shot. So if one person does the cool, the other person can do it. All three of you can do it. It's kind of cool, but except for the lead.
Yeah.
They shouldn't do it. So two have to do it.
That's what I was going to say. The lead should, the way that three-person is designed, there's coverage areas that extend all the way to the corner. So the lead really doesn't have any reason to be making any three-point signal.
Unless the trail, if it was someone else's responsibility, say the trail, and they're looking at the line or the lead like, I don't know what it was. Then if they had seen it, they could help it.
It's actually kind of a slow process here, but just watch the ball.
Lead. Close. Bam.
Take credit for this.
Good chest pass. Dribble.
So who's the last one to rotate? Center.
So lead goes to ball side, T closes down, C completes rotation. And if, say it's a zone and the offense is passing it around, good ball movement like any good offense should, and it's going back and forth, side to side, the lead shouldn't be running back and forth under the basket trying to get there. They should be smart about it. And this will come with experience. Also, this is why you should get to know your officials that you're working with, because you'll find that some people rotate more than others, and you just have to find the balance of, okay, are you going to be rotating very quickly and only be paying attention to you, or not. So the lead dictates rotation. Don't stay in the lane. Choose one side or the other. It's better to have 2 C's than 2 T's. This is why C is the last to rotate. The lead must officiate play in the post even while moving across the lane, so don't stop officiating just because you're moving. Seems kind of obvious. If the lead begins to rotate and the ball is quickly reversed or a quick shot is taken, the lead does not have to complete the rotation. It's pretty self-explanatory.
This way, that one's not. That's important. Your transition coverage is gonna be the same regardless, because this would be like if the rotation happens right in the middle of like a steal or something like that. Basically, you want to just make sure at all times that you have the lead and trail on one side of the court, centers on the opposite side of the court, and that whoever's in whatever coverage area, that's what your primary coverage area switches to, is whatever position you're in. That make sense?
Lead may administer throw-ins on either side of the player when staying in front court. Trail handles all throw-ins in the back court regardless of location. Bump and run if necessary. Not really sure what that is. Oh, I guess that's so if I was the trail and I called the foul, or there's a violation or whatnot, and they're gonna inbounds the ball right there, I would go become the lead and leave the ball for the lead, and then become the trail and administer the throw-in. Does that make sense, or did that make you more confused?
Basically, just boils down to what I just said as far as having the trail and the lead on the same side. You want to do whatever you have to do to have the least amount of running. So you're not going to have somebody sprint the whole length of the court. Whoever's closer is going to come administer the free throw, or not the free throw, the throw in, and then you're going to go field that position. The 3-person is designed the 3-person is designed for better coverage areas, more eyes on the court. So unlike 2-person where you have to box the players in and the ball in, you have someone else helping you out on that end, so you can administer it on either side as the lead.
And as the lead, if you're administering it on the end line, you'll want to hand them the ball every time versus bouncing the ball.
All right, so here's a real life scenario. So in first picture right here. So say ball goes out of bounds up here in that corner. Ball goes out of bounds, so you're going to have a throw in right around the 3-point line. What's going to happen with the switches? Who's going to become who? So you're going to have a throw in right here. You're going to have a throw in up there. Who's
On the baseline?
Yep, center's going to move up the trail. Lead's going to go administer the throw in. Trail's going to come down to center, because you remember what we said about never having the center be the one to administer. So it's always going to have your trail and the lead on the same side as the throw in.
So in the backcourt, the trail administers it, and the lead should be on the same side that the trail administers it. Very easy. So if a team is pressing, then the center and the lead will want to stay close to half court, versus if there's no pressure, they can go ahead and sprint to their positions, all while continuing to officiate.
This is just showing for press, with how do you line up?
So if they're pressing, you pretty much take the positions that they would be in and condense them to a half court, and the lead should not get beat deep, so they should be behind every player. So even if there's 4 groups of people pressing in the back court, and there's 2 people hanging out here, the lead should be behind them. That is the foul reporting area. That will not show up on the court. That is imaginary. Fouls and basic switching. So non-calling officials should observe all players, make sure there's no tomfoolery going on. Calling official goes table side after reporting. Official originally table side fills the vacancy left by the calling official. So it's a 2-man swap. Whoever calls it will go to the table, and the person that's at the table will go to the position that was just calling it. So disqualification procedure. Hopefully this doesn't occur much. So you notify the coach or the captain, requests timer to begin 30-second replacement interval, and notifies disqualified player.
So this would be like your 5 fouls, this, or it could be ejection too, but your 5 personal fouls or an ejection. This is what you just said.
That's what I just said.
And this is why it's also important to designate the throw-in spot, like we talked about earlier, where I said, Trey, we gotta throw in right here on the sideline. I'm going to report the foul, but he can go ahead, he can be watching the players. That way he's not still looking at me to figure out, do we have a shooting foul or do we have a throw-in spot?
So, can we go back to that?
Yes.
All right, so in this scenario, this is where the lead is calling the foul. The lead in the first box on the left is that the lead with table side. So the lead and the lead would go report the foul, and then the old trail would put the ball in play and become lead because we're staying in the front court. Second scenario on the right, lead calls a foul opposite the table. That doesn't mean T needs to come in and take the ball and play. It means since C is table side, then C becomes the new lead, and then lead becomes C. And the reason is because the foul or violation happened, most likely this is a foul, happened opposite the table. And so when we put the ball in play, we always have the lead and the trail.
Backcourt to front court with no free throws, so that's it. That's if the lead calls a foul. They would go report the foul and then go back to where, or I guess, yeah, they'd go back and they would become the trail inbounding it in the front court. Back.
Yes.
Back.
You're right.
Let's So that's an old slide. They changed the mechanic. We'll continue to do that.
All right. So don't try that if you're officiating something other than intramurals. Won't work out.
To be honest, it doesn't really matter who puts the ball in play or who switches, as long as you call a foul, you go opposite the table, and then we have a lead and a trail when we put the ball in play on the side. Other than that, it doesn't matter if we do a long switch or if we do a bump and run or anything like that. So.
All right.
Thanks for your help.
We got like 5 minutes before we need to do that quiz.
All right, free throws. Calling official becomes the trail. The lead administers all free throws. C and T should close down on last shot attempt. There we go. Yeah. Timeouts, those can be called.
Basically, if you have, whoever has the better angle to see the clock and the shot for a last second shot, what's the mechanic? You just do it like this to your official. So I'm looking at Mike, he's my other official, and I'll do like this and I'll point to the clock. It means I got the clock.
Questions, comments, general recommendations? Good job.
We do have the two-person slides that will, I'll send this out. This has some diagrams for how to do two-person. Two-person, basically you don't have a center. You're just going to have a trail in the lead, and they are opposite each other. Whereas three-person, they're same side, trail and lead, and two-person are opposite each other.